It was.
Said.
It was.
I mean, the expectations of that group kind of realized who they were.
Yeah.
But I think the main issue for G2, horizontal take coming in from G2, they still have the added element of bit of soft destruction. Never mind though, as Blaz on the sledge, he's gone. And still for Gav in a great position just to put that little bit of pressure, deny them that access to Garage, or at least closer to, in towards Garage. And there we go, Laura, they're in sight. They've just walked in. There's no traps, there's nothing there. They've cleared all out.
Okay, too much hands off. Yeah, fine, the bulletproof can see you, but it can also just see a post plant. But he's able to slip his way past the first and right into the bullets of Doki. In the meantime, Kino does find Loira, but a post plant with a little bit of pressure they need to put laterally across. There's no verticality for this. You just have to force these long watches out here, and as they're just pinging in Bs, they get all the awareness of Hotten's position. They know as soon as he goes for it, they're hoping they can keep the narrow line, but look, just drifts around the back and picks up the first on a freebie. They're pinching either side, and there's just a man above. Gunner lost. Looking down as his teammates fall apart. Can't even get to the kit in time, and G2 open up with what felt really easy. Yeah, at this point, Loira is the only one left on the far side of the site, and they're just going to try and swing in for the pressure. Diffuser gets Loira. Now it's a very direct take. The Monty can't really do much about the man behind the desk, but the C4 can't do much about him apart from go for the shake and bait. Gunner gets one, Stompin gets the swing round, but gets down in the meantime and finished off with the secondary. A 2 versus 3. The body balance has swinged its way back round. The Monty is ready to try and find a fight, but they're not taking the bait. Instead, he's going to have to try and drive and make his own fate, but it's a triple kill for Gunner. He's checked in behind the desk, and the only one left to check out here is Blaz. The shield will make things pretty much impossible. They're going to play themselves a little bit arms off. No, maybe not. 9 seconds. Hunt's the last man, swinging close. He's left or right, and he can't quite get it right. Underline, so instead Blaz comes round for a bit of split pressure either side, but it's actually Doki that gets caught out first, and there's the follow through and the trade outs. They have got one of the men on the site, but it doesn't take a huge amount of time for the rotates to come back round. Kino is that current backline, and as they're watching from above and making sure that these doors become impassable and locked, we're gonna enter this final minute, and it's not quite one. He can win out. Blaz using that DMR gets another great pick, and at this point there's about to be a swing fight round here above the Solus. How aware is he that they're aware of him as he's looking towards the kit itself? He's about to make a friend from behind, but it's maybe, a little bit of a preamble leads to the final sentence. You get the executor 4 versus 1 as they drop into the waiting arms, and Gun do get the down, and now it's technically a 2 versus 1 with Blaz and Lyra on the ground. Can he just get an isolation? But look at the positions, Demo. 1 deep in lockers, 1 above as well. They should have this secured. There's the pickup. That's 2 to 1.
No engagement. If he did in that Scopos thing, can kind of retreat back,
yeah.
play deep, play alongside Kino. More of a stable comp too, with the Monty again making an appearance. I think that's going to help with almost controlling potential aggression like this.
Didn't control that one. Alamau caught out as the first death, and there's your Nomad. There's great aggressive position here from Loira. He is not too far away from the site itself. As his, well, I was going to say if his position gets seen, that will happen. Hey, he got seen, that happened, but Stompin at least got the fuser for the trouble.
Yeah, the aggression. There's still a mute jammer on it, so for kind of moving around the site, it's very easy here for Gunner.
Oh, he's hitting all the shield. They've used the smoke as the cover. There's just a little bit too many people inside the area for fighting, and unfortunately the fight's cancelled, called off, and sent packing. G2.
Gunner can have a massive impact in combination with the smokes and the flames.
Well, he's ready to go for it. They've gone with the breach that they can get because of the laser gate. They can't quite get the tucked in, so they're going to have to swing round into an open firefight, but hey, they're winning out too, so why not see if you can go for gold here? Doki takes a bit of damage, but he's able to get Gunner. That is the player underneath. That is the player inside the site, and this is probably going to be a G2 3-2. There is at least one that comes against them, but Stompin is the punctuation to end a pretty strong up. Lawyer's going to put some pressure on towards the bathroom, which you can hear slowly surrounding Kino is wondering, well, at what point do I leave? Oh, 2 for 2, almost immediately either side, and that's a bit of a widespread as well, so that's now the kit cold. But he's living, and what kind of life will it be? 2 smokes, they can see if they can try and lead themselves in towards the site itself. Lawyer was just hoping he can get picked. The clan, well, can't stop him getting the first, but does pick up on the second. Blaz gets Gaveni, there goes Blaz and Alamau. All that's left, 2 smoke bolts and, 1 body for it, but with 8 seconds of time left. They know he's on the swing. They're just going to try and take the engagement. Played very smart here by Kino. There's also still a clash on the board for Kino. He's sick of running demo.
Pretty heavy against G2, and it's worked for them. Love it from M80. G2 just stalling free. Great. Laura finds 2 kills out of nothing, and all of a sudden it's back in G2's favor. Well, he is so dangerous. Oh, good info though. The Jachanka
just going for it. No, the fire will at least stop them, as well as Stompin getting the first and Loira getting the second. They sort of went off to the races, but race has been cancelled. Ground isn't quite passable. We're gonna have to call the whole thing off. This approach. Oh, it's even worse. Now it's another body hits the floor. And a 5 versus 1. Good idea, but unfortunately, G2 had better reactivity. They've all set themselves down the corridor. There's one. There will only be.
We didn't talk about this.
I mean, sure.
Talk about this. Plenty of crits. Look at this.
In and off to the races, straight in towards the side itself. About to round on the man. He's able to get one though. Can he get both? Surely not. Gunner does get Stompin, but still, those are those alarm bells were sort of ringing out there that you talked about before. And Kino's just going to keep the pressure going. He's able to drop, but Doki keeps things balanced, and now it's unfortunately not. Loira swings around the back, gets himself a double. The activation phrase was said. It was help, help, help there, and disguises motion. The problem is a lot of time and a lot of utility still stood. That's the downside. They know exactly where the kid is. They know exactly what is still standing, and, well, they know where to put him down. Loira, 3 for the round. Going so deep with the shotgun, but nobody's here to be found. They've absolutely gone on vacation. Oh no, vacation's cancelled. And the reason it's gone down is through a hurricane Kino that's just blown across the top. Now they're going to... So how are they going to plant? Look at that for an external rotate. Wow. They know where Stompin is, but he doesn't really care. Whoa! Oh, Gezzly hops through the door over Blaz, gets the hurdle, and then kills the hurdle. Now Loira, though, finds Gunner. 3 versus 4, 20 seconds, and nothing to disguise the plant or any cover inside itself. They're going to see if they can just make it happen, but he can't even get back in and out because they've locked it in from above. Demo Stompin said, I'm going on this rotate, and I'm going to get 2, and maybe try and find 2 more. 7 seconds. It's going to turn into a 1 versus 1. They got to plant. They got to find the right angle, and you know, he's hunting. He's sort of circling the problem, but a post plant. And at this point, they can just peel themselves away. Diffuser just pulls that one together.
To his already impressive total.
Do they expect this? The pop round, just a step, just a step. Oh, he actually gets caught because Gunner doubles down.
Quiet for M80. This is where they're getting ready for that second take to clear out these players in towards bathroom and in towards Mez.
It's the run up. The main stairs hit by the smokes. They can slow it down. In the meantime, Malamal's able to take the head off of Gezzly. Double. Can't get 3 though because suddenly there's Kino swinging around the side, but he's got a second to reload. Hon's only watching from the art window from long, and Gunner's trying to cut his way across Mez behind him. So, hey, he'll take the work into his own hands. Why not get 4? No. Stompin has the cover, but there's another for his trouble, and that just leaves Hotten watching the windows, looking at the art, but the picture currently painted is G2 in a 2 versus 1 situation. He might be able to get lucky here. He's got them angled both towards the same side, but the reason they're there is because that kit is sitting pretty dangerously right in the open of a very long corridor and a very bit of tricky terrain, 20 seconds. And he doesn't even know where to start looking, but he's got to clear every angle so he doesn't get swung on from the back. Okay, well, there's Shanka that sort of makes the rude hello that he can.
Spread out through kind of every layer right now, and they're kind of pinched 1. And I think for Stompin, losing up very early on without having that impact, whenever there are other rumors you could have kind of retreated back to. Bit of a blunder there for him.
Ooh, it wasn't Loira that got that kill, but it was...
He gonna get cut off by the verts, so he needs to be very careful if he wants to try and take these challenges, and he's gonna go for it, using the keepers, but no! There's Kino, hits him in the back with a Blackbeard.
3 versus 4, a minute on, and they're still just gonna try and wrest control of lockers. They've got it locked down, and Loira, Doki, and Blast have set themselves up as this front line. Gunner's still above. That's that danger. That limits the space that they can sort of move in, but they only need a second to plant Loira! Oh, he pulls it off! 2 versus 2, 40 seconds now, and it's all down to Gunner and Gezzly, a dream team duo, but against the shield, and with a big rotate still happening, you can see that, well, they're just burning out time. 1 more smoke canister demo, 1 more C4. They could play the rest of this from a bit of long arm, so those 4 flashes are going to have to be part of a bit of a flashy drive in. They've obviously got some awareness. They're just going to try and move on the back of it, and they're able to catch first by finding a pocket of space. The second, they line up, and they can't quite get the connection either side of 1 versus 1. And Doki might have been the first removed in the previous round, but here, pulls back, Gunner. He's going deep. He doesn't have a kit. He doesn't have an idea, and he's hoping that he can find a single place. He's only just realized he didn't know. And a Shakespearean tragedy leads to an EML victory on the first map.
Oh, my heart bleeds for him. He didn't realize.
Anyway, Fortress itself, we have seen it have a pretty decent play in generically NA at the map.
I like it. I think it's good. Me and Mr. Pengu. Demo shotgun, a very common operator to be used here.
Ooh, trying to charge their way right into the traps, but the Razor Bloom can't quite get either of them. Instead, the shotgun rush rocks White. And
with that kill, maybe G2 would kind of drop off, fall back into the bomb site. That is the timing. Oh, no, Stompin', no!
Oh, no! Disaster has struck Stompin', and, well, Hotton survives. The man with the breaches and the kit is gonna live, but only with a sliver of health as they get the breach open, ready to try and get another pick. You said aggressive, and here's them trying to just put the pressure back onto this situation. There's still a big divide to cross there. Crossfire from Blaz from Horse will actually get the drop down on towards one. They still have a bit of a control. The C4 kind of only caught air, and Doki catches Gezzly though. Now a 3 versus 3 with Hotton on the other side by himself, trying to put some pinch pressure in towards the Fuser, who just drives across Horse, gets the double down, but it's again these consistent engagements back and forth. The anvil rocked on the other side, so now we're just left with a bag of hammers, and we'll see if we can slap them against each other and see which ones can survive the drive-through. The Fuser cuts his way across, his gun is able to get the pinch on the other, and M80 build a better structure. Backdoor all sort of rebuffed, so instead they drive on towards Horse. They pick up the approach, bring it to the other side, get themselves in close and make it a bit of a swing fight, but the C4 ripped and ready to go. It's Gunner! Actually gets the all-go from the other side, but Stompin' hits Diffuser right back. The Bees are going to an already dead player, hoping that there might be a bit of a loose catch instead, but in the meantime, they're up against the Clash that's already pre-popping, and Hot and Cold, who just wants to drive his way through, but the Keepers keep pulling against the perfect utility game here, just keep them battering and battening against the doors themselves, trying to get on towards the strategy table, but the only strategy they can see is safety and back out and back round and just looking for a singular route in towards a singular purpose. But Doki has a purpose, and that is to appear from behind and get a couple of kills, but Stompin' says, I'm too busy, mate, doing your job for you. The last little pop is a Stompin' into the kitchen sink, but at that point I think even she could deal with that problem. Look at them, stuck, held up, and just having to sprint their way past, hoping they can find the cover. Oh, they can't quite get the thread of the needle. Instead, Blaz, with that big LMG, can just hold that angle, hold left click, and hold every single M80 approach at bay alongside the Clash. And what do? Stuck here. Here's that wall I talked about before that becomes a bit of a danger aspect. Maybe pull them away, but for all that she's doing, she's luring them in towards a fight. Someone help her. No! She's done, but she's taken a lot out of them. There's a bit more out of Hot and Cold. But with a minute, they've finally been able to get themselves tangentially close towards the site. But as things are still a bit hypothetical, back towards the drawing board and seeing if they can get a landing.
Look at the position that Hot and Cold's been able to go in towards. That is a blind spot position. Nobody can touch him whenever he's planting there. And yeah, this is all G2 can do. Try and run and stop it, but no. Look at the coverage. The exterior wall being open
for a sprint through. They're the ones, I think it's very fair to say, desperately where we had the result, but here's the coverage, here's the Glaz, here's the drive right round to a fight that currently isn't actually active. Oh no! Stabbed in the back, and who's to blame? Maybe the cover that can't quite be there. There it is! Doki swings around, gets the pinch on towards one, takes a bit of damage, but most importantly, already ripped and ready to go from the side of Stompin', but instead, it's the pinch. He's got himself tucked in. There's the fire. Will force him to, not quite go anywhere, but with a shotgun ready to lock and load. It's a crossfire and a firefight of accidental play in towards the kitchen, but Gezzly and Gunner get one apiece between them, and with Alamau leveling things up, well, Diffuser, not all that's left. What they've got is what they're working with.
It was the Clash that caused a lot of issues last time for M80. It just slowed their approach down, especially in towards Horse, but they're making moves happen now. They're using that util. No Clash to go up against, using the Grim. Horse is gone. You have that.
You can see that Loira is more than happy to go for the swing itself, but he's being tracked. But to be fair, he's holding a shotgun angle, and he's got a shotgun to make it work. Gets one. Can't get his way out the building with the grenade, but in the meantime, Doki's able to find one on the cover. So once again, we find ourselves in this sort of flat-fronted 2 versus 2. Drive right into the site, but Diffuser! His cape took most of the damage, and the mask took the rest, but he's still standing, and instead, 13 seconds. Forced Alamau out. They know where he is. That doesn't mean they can do a damn thing about it. The 2 versus 1, Kino. He should be swept up here as soon as they go for the close, and there it is. I said it was shotguns at dawn. Apparently they're just as good, if not.
I think back to the major, and you know, they never looked in doubt. You know, every game they went into, it was that confidence, that swagger that they had about it. But for G2, it's just about staying compact and having that trade game.
Alamau gets the double down, and oh, why not make it 3 for the trouble?
Wow.
Blaz wins out in the just shootout against Kino, and Hot and Cold is left with plenty of time. That's great. No flashes, drones loose, and some Selmas. This will probably be a bit of a conversation between the team. He's got time to try and dig in some of this round and a couple of picks to potentially find, but I mean, think about what's still in the pocket, right? 3 C4s, all the fires. They could play the rest of this hands off if they want, but that's not really what G2 do instead. They cement themselves the 4-2 half.
I just did a brand new random spawn pick. I punched the wall in music and just killed the guy. I never even knew the anthem.
So we're taking chances and it's paying off.
To be fair, if he didn't know it existed, knowing how he likes to play the game, there's a good chance most of the people didn't know it existed.
G2, good half, 4-2. Wonder though if M80 maybe need Fabian to get in there. The body language, the faces, not.
They're loose on towards the vending window as the blinds and the flashes start to move. Make sure they can keep the pressure up. An untraded body doesn't go any further. Doki gets caught out and hope that he can batter down the hatches. The roll of the flashes go even deeper. As for the players itself, Loira, he's able to take care of one, and Kino
No cap.
gets the drop on towards. There's Diffuser with one more, leaves just Blaz outside of a window, and well, does get one more for the hop. Bit of a bold approach. Then the one throwaway demo.
Could just be a matter of time before M80 pick up this round, and oh, maybe a 1v2 now. I mean, surely not. Surely not. No! No! You can't do that! You're not allowed to do that!
Quick work with the Twitch drone, get some of this locked down. You can see already a player's down inside the site, and they're off, making sure they can keep the pressure on Loira. He said he's on demon time. Apparently it's unending. There's Gunner at least getting one back, but Alamau keeps the pressure. Hot can't quite thread the needle on towards the stairs, and now the 4 versus 2, but Gunner.
They have no idea where G2 are going to try and pop up from. And this is the advantage of going fast. It's the advantage of having Loira. Blaz just keeps it going with that Sophia here today. And Gunner, can he maybe pull off a clutch?
The 1 versus 3 is going to find the next. No, he's not. Pre-fired it.
Alive in the second half is causing them again just so many issues.
Could not get the trade as well. Could not get the double down either. Loira sets himself up here with the cut. He's found an angle of space, but he has to operate at the right time. At the same time, G2, they're keeping themselves on Loira time until the watch gets cancelled and called off, and Diffuser slows things down. Deeper watch. Inside games on towards the cross with a bit of support from Gunner now on the bathroom. He's just got to find an angle and he gets stomping. Levels things up and causes a ruckus, but Alamau has a quick counter and levels things back in. But Kino, it's back and forth as it needs to be. Fabian said you need to work out how to do it in the lobby, and now Kino and Diffuser have to work out how to keep the dream alive. A dash across. Alamau's in, but he's not the man with the kit. Instead, he's the cover in the 2 versus 1. 15 seconds. Doubling down, there's one! Can't get the second, and there's the spray. Kino keeps them dreaming.
Being allowed to do what he's doing right now. I mean, I'm pretty sure both those kills were from outside, so that's people
Unaware. Holding on. Oh, and he misses the moment. Gunner reacts quick enough, and
another flank being attempted by M80. Can this catch them by surprise again?
they're going to use this. They know somebody's off site. Instead, try and focus on Diffuser. Has his take. There's another one. Loira does find one in the mix, but now he's all that's left. You talk about demon time. He's got 50 seconds to see if he can really cement the rest of this round. And 1 versus 4.
Double reinforcement right in front of him.
And a shotgun to boot. M80, 2 rounds.
The position that G2 need to try and target, and Got the line scan to try and help them, and here comes the push, and they've been able to find the man. Kina goes down.
Eyes on towards the site. They've cut it in half, but they just have to try and find a safe place to land, and Loira gets himself on towards Hot and Cold. We're in the final minute here in a 4 versus 3 with a surround on towards the pressure of a site where actually the kit is currently in the most danger, but recollected, and you can see the propped up position of Gezzly ready to fight for it as Stompin gets one. Gunner retakes and puts some pressure back in, but with the vertical watch, it's all down to the straight firing line. They can't quite find the slip in. These long firing ways just across as Gezzly locks it on towards Alamau, and now Stompin has to drop down and offer the flat 2 versus 2. Holding on. Ready for the swing, close. He's got himself propped up on the side as soon as they go for any of this ground. Well, Stolas turns her back at the worst possible time. Gets themselves in, 10 seconds left. And almost 2 1 versus 1s on the narrowest of angle. He's down, you're up, you're knocked out, somehow wins it, and now the final swing round the kit with pistol out, Stompin, the man who's done so much. Can he do just this last bit? Gezzly rotates round the back, can't quite get the fight itself. A 2 versus 1. Had enough, think of any, with not much more health than there are players still in the lobby, has swapped positions, and that puts all of the pressure on these openings back onto him to retake. Stuck in the middle, can't quite get the angle, Loira does! You've said it, and it's time for Loira, but it's time for G2 to keep fighting. And in the meanwhile,